Welcome to the rig rundown of Slothmachine. Here with me I have my dear friend Pius.
Hi Rafi, nice that you're here.
Thank you very much. And why don't we start off with guitars? I see you have a Strat here. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure thing, that is my American Deluxe Stratocaster, and it's the main workhorse of Slothmachine. It's my main guitar that I play live and also the one that gets used most in the studio. It's a 2009 model as far as I know. And yeah, it's just a really great guitar, and it's not the typical American Deluxe Stratocaster.
How so?
It's got these second generation noiseless pickups, which are Samarium Cobalt, and so they just got a little bit more oomph. Yeah.
All right. I see you've got a little bit of wear and tear here and there, so it's been used properly, right?
Yeah, used, fixed up. I mean, most of the parts are still the same, but I had to switch out the pody knob because that gets used quite a lot with all the, the Stratocaster pinky finger usage that you get. But other than that, and I didn't put another of these S1 switches in because who really uses them?
All right. I see from the side that you have locking tuners on there. Do they come standard or did you change anything on the guitar?
Yeah, with the American Deluxe, they're stock, yeah, and they're kind of important. I like to keep it like very low string gauge in there, so it's 46 to 10. And I don't like to keep a lot of string up here because it messes up the tuning.
Yeah, right. Do you have any preferred brand of strings that you're using?
Oh yeah, I do use Elixir strings because
Of the longevity?
yeah, exactly. And we're not kids anymore, right? So we don't rip any strings. That doesn't happen. We're civilized.
Does happen, Tom.
Well, I haven't really ripped the string since like years. So for longevity, I use the Elixir. Yeah.
Yeah, Elixir is also what I'm using most of the time. I mean, they're coated, right? But they maintain sound way longer, in my humble opinion, than most other brands. So, have you tried with going with any other strings like Diodario NYXL, I believe, are fresh on the market?
Yeah, actually, I got some of those sent to me, and then I tried them out. And yep, they work fine as well. It's just a matter of availability, really.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. So everything, from what I gathered, was stock on this guitar.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, and with rock bands, we don't use any of those fancy five-way switch positions. We just have the bridge pickup and we have the neck pickup. Basically, that's all the stuff.
Awesome. So what kind of sounds are you going for with the Strat? Since you're using single coil, I believe, right? Yeah, of course.
Yeah, there are the single coils, but again, like there are these weird Samarium Cobalt that most Strat players don't like, so they switch them out for the newer models. But just for heavy progressive rock kind of things, they do tend to give a bit more oomph, more in the humbuckery direction, and they are noiseless, which is of course necessary in this genre.
Nice. So can you give us any example of what you would typically use it for?
Sure. So this one, the main work amp as well is the Vox AC100.
I believe I do know this model.
This particular model apparently belonged to a German rock star Bela B from Die Ärzte and Bela B's jazz project, of course. So apparently this was like a backup amp that he had, right?
So the story was that I believe it was like 5 or 6 years ago. I sold this bad boy to Pius. I mean, between friends, we don't usually sell, but as it goes, I didn't use it anymore, and it's more fitting to your style. And the guy I got it from was the guitar technician for Bela B and the Ärzte. So, I mean, I only have his verbal reassurance, but I googled him, and turns out he is actually the guy. So.
Yeah, it's always like I tell people, yeah, the guy who sold me the amp told me that it's from a guy who knows Bela B. So apparently, yeah.
And embarrassing enough, like a few years later, we're here conducting the rig rundown. So there we go. Right. Anyway, so for the sound samples.
Yeah, I just usually use the clean channel.
Sounds nice. Sounds really nice. Does it break up well?
It breaks up terrific. Especially, I only use the clean channel also for all my pedals, and I just put a little bit of the gain up, and then it's very dynamic. So it breaks up well to like harsher playing and all that sort of thing. So it's a very dynamic amp. Yeah.
Very nice. So, I mean, I do know this amp, but it's been quite a long time. So, how many channels have you got? So, or what are the options? Basically, 2-channel amp, right? With
got the dirty one, and this is A very muddy amp in total. Yeah, it's very muddy from the dirty channel. It doesn't sound like Vox at all. That's why a lot of grunge and stoner bands have these types of amps, if they're still around, because they're kind of rare. But the clean channel just picks up pedals very well. That's the main different part of my rig, pedals that make it.
Nice. So you use this one in recording as well, right?
Yeah, this amp for recording for the main guitar lead parts, and the second amp that we have here is a H&K Warp, which is also kind of like an amp from the 2000s, which is more heavy in the sense that, yeah, it's more for like new metal bands and things like that, but it packs that oomph and that really low end for all the Les Paul parts that we played, and we're gonna go to that guitar in a bit.
Okay, so you're mostly using that combined with humbuckers, right?
Yeah, exactly. It picks up. It's got one mode. It's got full power. It's got on. Basically, we don't need these buttons here. There should be one button on.
Nice, dope, really nice. So, do you want to give us another sound sample of what the Vox can do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
So, what I run it through is a pedal that I built myself. It's basically a clone of Ibanez Tubescreamer. Yeah, the green one. You know, everybody knows the green one. I just have a special one here that I built myself, and it goes like this.
Very nice, very nice. The Tubescreamer, I mean, we're gonna check out your pedal board in a second, but just from looking at it, it's quite modified, isn't it?
Yeah, heavily modified, like a lot of the things. Yeah, when we get to the pedal board, I think we can go through those things, because every guitarist wants to achieve their own sound. With my things, it was always a necessity. Oh, I didn't have a Tubescreamer, they didn't sell one, so I built one and then tweaked it a little here and there. And then a friend of mine painted this.
Very cool, very cool. So everything's tied together pretty nicely. All right, so Strat, do you want to go through the pickups?
Yeah, sure. So for softer tones, we got the neck pickups, and they always they're very smooth. And very smooth for the clean parts in songs like Drowned, or in other songs like Buddy.
Very nice. I mean, just asking, could you play the same lick again, but on the bridge position, please?
Absolutely, because yeah. So you hear the difference right there. And then again, when the song goes into a bit the rougher parts and second verse, then we go onto the bridge pickup, and yeah, the other things would sound like very like bright and Strat sounding, like we're used to it, right? Yeah.
No, but I just thought that, I mean, for a neck pickup, it picks up on the harmonics quite nicely, you know?
Yeah. Exactly, for a neck picks up. I don't do a lot of harmonics on the new songs. We're gonna do more harmonics, but yeah. It sounds
super clean.
Yeah, very ringy bell.
Yeah. Got a lot of mids in there, which I really like. So
unusual again for a Stratocaster, right?
But then again, it's the second generation of noiseless pickups, and
it's really, you can hear that Samarium Cobalt. Yeah.
For sure. All right, really nice. So cool Strat, super dope. That's your main workhorse. You use it. Do you use it live as well as your main guitar? Or?
Yeah, live it's the only guitar I use. We do have a backup guitar, but like I said, we're grown-ups. We don't break strings, right?
Yeah.
And other than that, we have as a backup and for studio purposes a Telecaster as well that I can show you if you'd like. Right?
Yeah, of course. Just one final question. Are you in standard tuning, or?
Good question. Yeah, we always go over that. As some of the experts probably saw, we're in drop D tuning, right? That's for all these rhythmic and melodic part. It's very good, and bands like Tool or Billy Talent use it as well. And yeah, so we started.
Every band uses drop tunings nowadays, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, can you even show up with a standard tuned guitar? Who's going to listen to that?
Fair enough.
Right.
So
next guitar, right?
Of course.
Okay, so switcheroo.
So you talked about the Telecaster, right?
Yeah, exactly. Next guitar is also American Deluxe
Oh, wow.
Telecaster.
Very nice.
This specific beauty I got from a small guitar shop in Nashville, Tennessee.
Shout out to Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, exactly, the home of rock and roll. And it is actually next to Thirdman Records. You're familiar, right? Jack White's label, which is an amazing store, an amazing time if you go there as a tourist. You're just gonna get like people can show you around. There's a nice store where he sells his pedals and all his merch. And next to it is a little guitar. Well, it's not little. It's actually quite big. It's Carter's Vintage Guitars.
Carter's Vintage.
Yeah, it's a secret tip. They have the best vintage guitars, you had new guitars as well, but like they resell them, right? So this is a used one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, it looks super clean. Like it's mint. Mint.
Very good condition. The only thing that I like personally is here, if you get a close-up of that, the rusty screws in here, because there's a lot of humidity and dryness, like humidity and heat, and so yeah.
I mean, I have to say I checked it out earlier, and like the rosewood on the fingerboard is super pristine. The edges are rounded, so it's really well playing. So wow.
And it was like that when I got it, and they set it up perfectly. I do oil the rose board like 2 or 3 times a year, so yeah, with the lemon oil, of course.
Standard procedure, right?
Yes, standard procedure. Same procedures every year. And it's got the locking tuners as well. It's the American Deluxe model. And the nicest thing, and maybe we can get a close-up of that again, is the belly.
Ah, you've got the bevel. Yeah.
Exactly. If you get a little bit older, it's nice to have it here, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like what bugs me with like regular Telecaster models. It's just it gets a bit sharp after a while.
The edges in here, it's fine, right? And I use it in the studio mostly, but it's got the S1s, which this one I actually do use for a humbucker position, so to say.
Ah, so is it a coil tapping or coil splitting? How does it work?
It's an interesting thing. Usually they're parallel, like when you have the middle position, and now they're serial, which sounds like a humbucker in serial position. Yeah.
Can we get a taste of that?
Absolutely, yeah. Sure. Let me just. So it's the single coil, and then we get the. Yeah, and then if you go to the middle position, you got this scoop sound, right? And then if you go.
Yeah, way feather, way nicer. Yeah.
It's an actual useful feature. I never got a use out of the Strat S1s, which just sounds muddier, but this one I do like.
I also like that they solved the feature by just like pushing a little button as opposed to, like normally having to pull or push it down. Either way, it's really nice.
And useful, and you can actually use it and you don't flick it accidentally. So this guitar I did use on ceramic face, on the solo specifically, and yeah. And we just wanted a bit of more. A Tele has this twang, even this noiseless Tele has twang, and just wanted to get some of that rock and roll in there. Yeah.
Of course, yeah. Do you also use it live?
Not yet, but I'd like to. And our band has a certain stylistic code, corporate identity, that sort of thing. So we went with the black and gold so far. I mean, as you can see with our little Love Idols that we have. But so maybe for the second album, since I got another guitar that's also Sunburst, we could go for that, right?
Sure, why not?
Right.
So how the keys on that one?
Oh,
I imagine the Tele neck is legendary, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. And I do have to stress, on this amp, you're not using that much gain at all, right? It just breaks up naturally, right?
We're in the middle position of the gain. It breaks up naturally, and exactly that's what you want with these high output single coils, yeah. And single coils
amazing.
Still the most dynamic pickups, right?
It's crazy. Especially the noiseless Fender ones. I mean, of course, they're used for a reason, so...
You always think it's a compromise, but in the end, it's kind of the compromise that was necessary for the sound of the band, I'd say, right?
Awesome. Great.
Go to the last guitar?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, and that's my oldest, actually, so...
Yeah, I've known this guitar for many years.
Yeah, personally encountered it, right?
Indeed. But it's great to see that it's still in use.
Yeah. This is my Les Paul. It's an Epiphone Les Paul. It's a custom, though, and it was my very first guitar that I got when I was about 14 years old. Yeah. And it's gone through a lot since, right? I mean, you were there with most of it, so...
Yeah, some of the wear and tear, the battle scars.
Oh yeah, I remember that gig that was in a bar at Long Night of Music, and Corona bar that doesn't exist anymore, but yeah, it fell down twice.
I remember.
So now I use locking tuners for all the guitarists. It's probably a good call to do that.
Indeed.
Yeah, right.
So, are the humbuckers stock? Because I see something here which is quite interesting, quite peculiar. I've never seen that on a guitar.
Very few things of this guitar are still stock. I had to switch out a lot. And that's what you say. You get an Epiphone, you put different pickups in, and you got a Gibson, right?
Sure, it's like a mod project base, right?
Yeah, it's basically, and this is a beautiful guitar, but I put in Seymour Duncan's. That's the SH6 and the SH2.
Right, nice.
So it's SH6 a bit more output than is usual for Les Paul.
It's a bit hotter, right? A bit more mid-rangey.
Yeah, and these things that we just saw, those are the Seymour Duncan split rings or mount rings or something, and they're kind of all of these have like can be splitted, but not only split onto one of the coils, but also on the second coil, or you can go parallel, or you can go serial.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot to take in. I mean, can we just hear it as an example? Like.
Yeah, let's go. So let's go on a clean sound. Right, that's the typical humbucker.
Sure, very, very bright, very warm.
And if you don't want the humming, like when you're playing the store, you can just go on a... That's the parallel humbucker, I think, and that sounds more like a single coil, but it's got the hum reduction, right? So this is only really audible in a clean setting, right? In a distorted setting, not so much with all that output going on, right? But actually, for this guitar in the studio, we reamped everything. So we used the amps, the real amps, no like plugins.
Very nice. Okay, so these two amps were in use as we see them, right?
Exactly, the whole time. And the Les Paul we used with the Warp amp for the more oomph and low end, right? And if you want to give it a listen,
yeah, sure. Let's plug it in.
We have to plug it around a little bit.
Of course.
Do the engineering.
So you said that the Warp amp you've had for how many years? Since you were a teenager, right? So
yeah, basically, like I got this one with my first band when I needed a little bit more oomph, and it was the totally wrong amp for the band.
Was it?
Yeah. We were doing high school rock, and this is like a new metal kind of amp, right? So
because I remember you playing Hughes and Kettner, but I don't remember you playing the Warp amp. Actually, I've never seen the Warp amp by Hughes and Kettner. Forgive me. I only know like the Switchblades you had, I believe, right?
Exactly. The Switchblade is a useful amp, and it's an all-arounder, but does nothing really good. Or well. Yeah, right.
Well,
so, let's get that listen, right?
Sure.
Right.
Damn, okay, yeah.
We need that for songs like Head Start. Right, it was Head Start.
Damn nice. Are you going through any boosts, or is it just the amp by itself?
That's the amp by itself, right? That's all that. And Benjamin, our rhythm guitarist, he basically doesn't use any pedals. He can just go through that one and keep it clean. And we've been trying out some different pedals with him, but he's unlucky and things break down quickly. And I haven't figured out why quite yet. So, yeah. Okay.
But does he use a guitar with humbuckers as well, or does he use single coils?
Yeah, because of I noticed already the corporate image of Slothmachine, and I had to get him a black and gold guitar as well, right? I had to, right? So I got him a Telecaster, a Fender Squier Telecaster with the anodized pick guard, and
of course, like with your Strat, right?
Exactly, like with the Strat, and I put a humbucker in single coil form in there, so he's got enough oomph. So
Seymour Duncan as well?
Yeah, exactly. Seymour Duncan, 59, I think it's called. Yeah, exactly. The hot rod, yeah, something like that. Right, the branding is always...
Can't go wrong with Seymour Duncan, like...
Yeah, right, cool. So you got the fat one, and that one's way too loud, so we got to turn this off.
Please, because I'm so intrigued by all these possibilities by the Seymour Duncan... What was it called again?
These split mounting rings. Yeah.
Split mounting rings, all right.
It's one solution for tap coil splitting, right? And it's just it's a bit more complicated, and it leaves like... I'm not good at math, but like a couple thousand options. Like if you have to switch here and the 4 options there.
Yeah. Was this guitar used on any clean recordings at all? Because I'd imagine that with the neck pickup you might get some warmer sounds.
I'm not quite sure anymore, but I think so on Drowned. On that song has a lot of clean parts, and I think especially right in the pre-chorus we got some clean parts of this guitar in there. We wanted it to like high end, right? Yeah.
Awesome. Could you give us a little taste of that, please?
Well, we'll go back to the other amp for that, I suppose, okay. But yeah.
Of course.
Well, actually, let's try it out.
It's huge difference.
Yeah, this was my workhorse until I was like 20 years old, because I needed all these different options, right, for jazz bands and for rock bands, and like a rock band that was called, what was their band name? Basic.
I'd rather not say that. No, something along those lines. Yeah.
Rather basic, right? But yeah, and we needed all of that.
Awesome.
Right. Great.
Sounds dope. And what I like especially admire is that the presence is not up that much, and it still has this clarity, you know. So, yeah, awesome. So let's switch back again and maybe take a look at your pedal board, if you don't mind.
Zoom in there, right? Okay.
Awesome. All right, so we're here back again with your pedal board.
Sure. Yeah, I'll take you through the signal chain, so to say, right? I've started to use recently. I started to use these wireless transmitters, and they used to be way bigger, right? They used to be these whole units.
I remember, yeah.
And now they cost like $50, and I just wanted to try them out. And so far, they've worked for 2 shows, or for like I did more shows with that one Slothmachine show, and they go about 10 meters, and then they cut out. But like, it's just I like to move around on stage, you know, like to turn, like to do pirouettes and things like. Nah, not that, but. And so I use this, and it goes directly into the tuner. And I just got a cork tuner, mini tuner, because.
I'd like to see the cork tuner because I need a new one. And no, seriously, how is it? May I just?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can go out there. And it's very bright. That's a good thing on stage, right? It has the right brightness and easy to like. And it's pretty accurate, right? So it goes in the.
That's what I was looking for, basically. Does it go down any like to B? Let's say, for example.
Definitely, it's a chromatic and it goes down all the way. Yeah.
Perfect.
Some lower baritone models with that, no problem, right?
Some genty stuff.
It does have the gent, right? And yeah, next thing is my wah, which is a standard Crybaby that I heavily modified.
Did you?
And I can't quite tell you what I did with it, but it sounds very special now. And well, I did a vocal mod, which is like switching out some resistors and a capacitor where I changed the range of the wah. It's basically a variable mid switch, right? A mid filter.
So you basically went full on nerd mode on the wah, and
yeah, I went Iron Man on it, and I painted it red too. So yeah,
nice. But how does it differ from a regular wah that you would just get at the guitar store?
Yeah, so some of the components, wahs are easily modifiable, so that the voicing changed basically, and it suits more not a clean playing style that's kind of funky, that sounds a bit too harsh, but for the kind of shrill, shrieky solo sounds that I like to do, it kind of suits it.
Yeah, of course, because I can't really put my finger on what it would sound like.
Generally, wah, you got that one. Yeah, right. You got the classic wah, and it's pretty bright, right? But I use it for songs like Ceramic Face, and there's some like smaller parts and structures that I use it for, right? Like so.
Nice, yeah, okay.
Yeah, right. So I don't use like a typical wah in the sense that I go wah 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 all the time, right? But
Kirk Hammett style.
Yeah, exactly. You can do more with a wah. You can do a lot of voicings, and I've been thinking about getting I do have one already, a talk box.
Wow. So Bon Jovi style next.
Yeah, perhaps Bon Jovi, more a little bit like Adam Jones, perhaps. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, right.
Nice. So we've got the wah, we've got your tuner, but how about the Harmonist? I've never seen a Boss Harmonist. Is it Boss, right?
Boss Harmonizer, yeah. That was a weird pedal. So basically, oftentimes Gabriel, our singer and producer, he comes up with these weird things, right? In post production, he's like, oh, this solo should have like a second voice, right? And I'm like, but I want to do this live. And how do we do this live? Because usually if you have a picture, it just locks into one step of the chromatic scale, right? Like a third, or a small third, or big.
Exactly.
But this one actually analyzes which tonality you play in. Oh,
seriously?
You can manually put it in. Like, so for instance, for the solo of Head Start, right? We got this wah da da da, and well, I'll just show you.
Yeah.
That's how it would sound if we didn't have the cool studio magic, and that sounds like this.
Very nice, yeah.
Right, yeah. And you couldn't do that with a normal pitcher, so I had to have the harmonizer. It can do a lot of different things, but this is the only reason I have it on.
So basically it's here for that one part, and
Yeah, we're extra like that. We have one pedal for
Nice.
one song and one part in it.
Sure, of course.
Yeah,
If you did it in the studio, I mean, you have to do it live somehow, and it works, right?
people expect it, right? If I don't play the harmonies live, they're going to be like, I want my money back.
Of course they are. But now, I mean, we've previously talked about it for a short while, but your Tubescreamer. Can I call it a Tubescreamer? Is it basically like an Ibanez Tubescreamer?
Yeah, if you don't get any legal troubles with it, but it is basically the platinum of an Ibanez Tubescreamer with some minor modifications, and it's got like, there's all these different types of Tubescreamers and years and things changed, and it's got all of that in it. So I've got the gain, I've got the tone, I've got the volume, and then the switch between two different capacitors. And if you get a close-up of that, it's a very beautiful painting job that's done by Rosa.
It's amazing. It's stunning. It's seriously cool. Yeah.
May I just? Yeah, you can just turn around a little bit.
Very, very nice. It's super sensitive, actually. Like, it doesn't have like, because with a lot of pedals you have like the edge. As soon as you hit a certain spot, it breaks up really nicely, and below that is just trash, basically. But this one is very, very sensitive.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, like, I'm surprised it's still holding up because I soldered this together when I was 20. So,
Speaks for your soldering work.
well, perhaps, yeah, perhaps. I'm just paranoid about it. It might break any day, but I think I'll still be able to fix it. Yeah.
Of course, it does. As long as it doesn't break live.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's the main sound of Slothmachine, so we gotta have this thing, right? I can't
Sure.
replace it. But I'm sure it's gonna work out.
Awesome.
Right.
So next to that is a Boost Overdrive.
Yeah, it's the custom audio electronics from MXR. It's a very standard tool, I think, in the genre that we play in, because I think Slash uses it too. It just got that extra, and I often use it together with the Tubescreamer.
Sure.
Yeah. And it's also for the lead sound, so it's got the standard drive, which is more hard clipping. The Tubescreamer is a soft clipping overdrive, and this is a hard clipping overdrive. I don't use distortions.
So right now you're just using the overdrive without any Tubescreamer, without any boost.
Exactly. That's for songs like, I've increasingly started to mix them up. So right now it's just for a head start. And I've started to mix it with the Tubescreamer for a bit more bite.
Makes sense. Yeah.
And then for the lead sounds, of course, for the solos, I go with the boost, and I go in with like some delay usually and some boost, right? Right. And I did the thing.
Always happens.
Yeah, right. You'd think with a 50% chance you'd get it right every so often, but it never happens, right? Right, that's the lead sound.
Awesome. Really cool.
Yeah.
So now for the main piece, at least the one that takes the most space on your pedal board, the Flashback. I mean, everyone knows the Flashback.
Yeah. This is the big one, right? So I was used to this digital amp with all these presets and MIDI, and I was very accustomed to having all the different delay times and all different types. So I got this one because it's not programmable in the amp anymore. So I got this this unit, which is amazing. It's got like 6 slots to save things, and it's got all crazy kinds of delays. So this was just a standard kind of dynamic delay. Yeah, it's kind of nice. And then we got crazy things like a reverse delay, like.
I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah, you can go all Jimi Hendrix on that, right? You can go. If you hold the button,
it's crazy.
Got, functions and I don't even know all the functions yet, but I'll figure them out at some point.
Do you use a preset on anything live, or do you change it up live while you play, or after each individual song?
So we got a really good drummer. Shout out to Reinhard. Yeah. And he's so steady with the beat. So I mean, he does use click often, but
that helps.
He holds us together, right? It's like he doesn't miss a beat there. So I actually counted it out, and I'm using 3 or 4 different ones live, and they're kind of in time, and I can adjust them with the tap tempo. Yeah. So
awesome. Okay, awesome.
Exactly. That's the big unit, and then I've been trying to experiment with some new sounds for the new songs that are coming out at some point.
Oh, okay.
But then it's difficult because Benjamin doesn't like the phaser and Gabriel doesn't like the flanger, and so I decided to use a phaser and a flanger, and that's how it sounds. Yeah, exactly right.
So the next one that you just activated, what is that?
That's a phaser, right?
Could you play One by Metallica, please?
I do. I never played any Metallica, but it was something like that. Right?
Something along those lines, yeah.
Right. And this is interesting. It's like one of those cheap pedals that you can buy online, right? And I just wanted to try it out. And it's got this weird mode, which I like. It sounds almost like a ring modulator.
Let's hear that.
Sounds like you intubated a guitar, right?
No, it's very nice, very nice. Has this very steely vibe to it, you know?
Yeah.
Very industrial sound.
Exactly, and that's where the band's gonna go. You heard it here first. We're gonna be industrial, right? Oh no, our cameraman is shaking his head. No, we're not gonna do that.
All right, looking forward to see that. So that's your pedal board. Is there any other pedal that you usually maybe exchange?
There's going to be some switching around, and planning to use a talk box, as I've said before, and yeah, it's just so much room and so many pedals, right? But I got the new level 8 engine from Fender, and it's got
very nice
connections, and I went to IKEA and got myself some LEDs just to lighten up the mood, and now I can see shit down there.
Definitely looks like nice. For the engine room, how many connections does it have? 6 or?
It's got the 8 connections, and
as the name implies.
Good question though. And it's got some USB cable adapters so you can charge your phone there, right?
Seriously?
Yeah, because you got to do the social media. You got to do
of course,
the
as we can see. Nice,
yeah,
dope,
that, yeah.
Wonderful. I mean, can we get some sound samples?
Yeah, sure.
Basically.
Mix it up a little bit, right?
Sure.
Okay, right, cool. Of the overdrives, and right, and you got some. And then what I often like to use is just a reverse for. Or we got a new song coming out.
Sounds really great in combination, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah.
Great. Seriously, what I just noticed right now is it isn't really black, is it? It has a gold sparkle finish to it.
It does, right.
Holy smokes.
Good lighting, you can notice that, right?
Nice. Awesome. So everything's color coordinated. Your rig looks pretty perfect and pretty stable to me. So basically the essence is the Vox. You do use single coils, you do use humbuckers, but preferably single coils live, right? So the noiseless ones by Fender, 2nd generation. Elixir strings, 46 to
10, yeah. I got 42s on the tally, but that's almost a bit too small, right?
Yeah. One is
Les Paul is 52.
okay. Makes sense. Awesome. Any final words?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's a pretty standard rig that you have like lying around at home, I think, in the end. But yeah, if people are getting more interested in gear again, I've noticed that, like on TikTok, and well, we are used to all of these pedals and things, right? We learned and we grew up with them, right? But now they're becoming a bit more popular again. So yeah, I hope it helps, like to find your sound and just experiment, and don't be afraid to get a little bit technically and like to get into the wiring of things.
Exactly, because I mean, as we can see, the modified Tubescreamer just sounds amazing. Like I have owned a couple of Tubescreamers myself, but this one is certainly special. And as you said, you were 20 when you built it, right? So
I'm a bit older than that. I think like 24 or something like that. Yeah.
doesn't matter. Yeah. Awesome. So thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
Was
for
a
having me.
pleasure. And
See you at the next gig.
yeah, hopefully
Right.
so.
Cool. Nice.
Cheers.
Bye.
Nice.